Right on. All right, so we're World History 1, and we're talking last week. We were discussing one of the battles, and this week we're looking at the Gallipoli campaign. Do you know anything about the Gallipoli campaign?
No.
No problem. So they were basically, what started it was in early fall, October of 1914. There was a thing called the Black Sea Raid. All right. And so you had several, two German ships that went in and bombarded the Russian port of Odessa. And then in October 31st, 4 days later, the Ottomans entered the war and then became what was known as the Gallipoli campaign. All right. So let me show you a quick little video. Gallipoli campaign. All right.
Install honey on the last house on the table. Where's inside? Now you might be wondering why he's installing honey. It's because honey's the campaign. 15 to 1916. World War I. By 1915, the war on the Western Front had fallen into a stalemate. The Allied powers fighting in Belgium and France were considering opening a new front. In January 1915, Grand Duke Nicholas of Russia had appealed to Britain for assistance against the Ottoman Empire, a member of the Central Powers which had invaded the Caucasus. A naval expedition was launched by the Allies to capture the Dardanelles Straits, a passage that connects the Aegean Sea to the Sea of Marmara in northwestern Turkey, and beyond that, the Black Sea. If they were successful in their goal, the Allies could link up supply routes with Russia and knock the Ottoman Empire out of the war. Furthermore, as First Lord of the Admiralty, Winston Churchill proposed opening another front would dilute the German forces as they supported the depleting Ottoman-Turkish army. British Admiralty Winston Churchill pushed for a naval attack on the Dardanelles with a bombardment by British and French battleships on February the 19th, 1915, and resumed on the 25th because of bad weather. The Ottomans had placed mines in the water, and the minesweepers had failed to detect many of them. The British also sent Royal Marines ashore to sabotage Ottoman artillery. On March the 18th, Allied battleships entered the Straits. Fire from the Turks and undetected mines sank 3 of the ships and damaged 3 others. This naval assault could not work because the Turkish guns needed to be silenced, and so did the minefields, which was impossible to do at the same time. The naval ships were also mainly obsolete warships, unsuitable for action. After this failed naval attack, a full-scale amphibious beach assault would begin on the Gallipoli Peninsula. General Ian Hamilton was commander and had assembled 77 ships and 75,000 men. However, he lacked specialist landing craft. Under his command were British forces, ANZAC, standing for Australian and New Zealand Army Corps, and lastly, French troops. The landing started on April 25th. The Allies suffered heavy casualties, establishing the beachheads of Cape Helles and Anzac Cove on the Aegean coast. The Anzac forces had landed a little north of the intended landing site of Garbatepi at a cove instead. The Garbatepi landings would become known as the Anzac Cove landings, in honor of the Australian and New Zealand troops who fought valiantly against the determined Ottoman Turkish defenders. After the landing, the Allies could not progress as trench warfare quickly formed like it had done on the Western Front. The summer heat and the dysentery epidemic were unbearable, and supplies hung around corpses. Hamilton ordered an attack on Suvla Bay in August, involving the landing of 63,000 Allied troops. They were to link up with Anzacs at Anzac Cove and break the stalemate. But indecision meant that the Ottoman Empire would reinforce the position, and by August 10th, an attack led by Mustafa Kemal recaptured Suvla Bay. Allied increased and the continued. Reinforcements were lacking. It was time for evacuation. The order to evacuate the Allied troops was given on the 7th of December. The last troops leaving Suvla Bay and Anzac Cove before dawn on the 20th of December 1915. The last troops left Cape Helles on January the 9th, 1916, and the evacuation was a success with no casualties. The Gallipoli campaign was a disaster for the Allies, who suffered more than 250,000 casualties, while on the Ottoman side, they also had an estimated 250,000 casualties. Gallipoli has become a defining moment in the history of both Australia and New Zealand, and has been recognised as their baptism of fire and a key event to their emergence as independent nations. In Turkey, the battle was seen as a significant event in the foundation of modern Turkey, and a final victorious defense before the end of the Ottoman Empire. Watch our other videos to...
Okay. You there?
Yeah.
All right. What'd you learn from the video? Give me one thing.
They placed a bunch of minesweepers and most of them weren't detected.
They placed a lot of mines, and then the minesweeper didn't detect. Yes, didn't detect. Correct. So look at this wonderful art project I've got going on right here. There's a lot of stuff going on here. Can you see it very well?
Yeah.
Okay. You can see down here's Turkey.
Yes, yeah, I see it.
You have Marmara. I colored it in blue. And then this is the Black Sea. And this is the Aegean Sea. Okay?
All right.
This is water. This is water. And this is water. So this is Turkey on this side of the Strait of the Dardanelles. And this is Turkey on this side of the strait back then. Okay? This is representing the older map. All right? So you can see how important these little places are, right? So if you wanted to get from somewhere east of the Black Sea to somewhere west of the Aegean Sea, you'd want to go through these straits, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what happens is at these straits, say the Ottomans, Turkish, what they called the Ottomans then, would fortify this area, because if they didn't want you to come through, they could easily stop you then, couldn't they?
Yeah.
The same thing on this end. So they're controlling all the shipping of food, spices, gold, you name it, on and on. Major control. So when the war breaks out, whoever's controlling this is controlling the whole area pretty well, don't you think?
Yeah.
All right. Can you see these red boxes?
Yeah.
All right. So this is the Allies. This is the original plan. This is what they wanted to do. All right. They wanted to attack here at Constantinople. All right. They wanted to do a full-on assault here on this end, and then come on a full-on assault at this end. But there were problems, lots of problems. So the Ottomans knew it. So the Ottomans were going to counter them here. The green boxes are the Ottomans. Can you see it?
Yeah.
Very light though, isn't it? And right here in the water, on the land beside the water, they were attacking both of these, and then another set of troops would be coming in from this way. So all this was set up, and they did believe that they were going to win it. And if their minesweeper would have worked properly, they probably would have won it then. But because of the mines, and then coming through here, they just got bombarded with artillery. They weren't, I guess, expecting it, which doesn't make much sense to me. So this was a complete what?
Fail.
Yep, it's a failure. All right. They had to scrap where they were at, rethink it. They knew they had to get the mines out of the water, or at least miss the mines, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they had to get on shore and take out that artillery establishments that were shooting the shells at them. So that's what's called an amphibious assault. That means it's from the water, right?
Mm-hmm.
So how hard do you think it was? Just theorize. You've already been beat down. Your plan failed. You had to back it up. Now they had lots of backup ships. They had, what is 79, I think it said. When they came out again, they dropped off different areas as they went, trying to get in and sneak attack and destroy the artillery. And as the video mentioned, this is what brought Australia, and you remember the other country?
Turkey.
New Zealand, I believe.
Well, there was Aragon or Aegon or something like that.
Yeah, it was Australia and New Zealand that showed up big time, as in
that
their the ability to fight, and the amount of force they came with. And it was back then war was pretty ugly. You got to remember, it's still trench war, and people don't, when you hear the Western Front had stabilized, do you know what that means?
They weren't losing as much troops.
It definitely means that. Sure. So basically, you had a battle, right?
Mm-hmm.
Can you see my hands?
Yeah.
All right. So this will be your team. This will be my team. So I win. No, back and forth, pushing the line back. So stabilize means that there's nobody's advancing. Everybody's dug into their trenches. You might still be killing people on both sides, but you're still not able to advance. What do you think happened to all that stuff? Like the trenches.
Like what happened? Like why we don't do it anymore?
No, that's a good question. I think you could answer that.
Because technology and stuff.
Sure, yeah. But what do you think happened? Look, they built trenches. They were out there for months and months and months. So they were digging trenches, 6 foot, 5 foot, just enough, 4 foot, just enough to duck and get yourself under so that you're not getting shot, but so that you can start moving around and moving forward. See, originally, trench lines were done this way, shooting this way. And they would do their line this way, shooting this way. Well, you pretty much got to wait till somebody lifts their head up, right?
Mm-hmm.
What they started doing is, instead of building the trenches this way, they started taking them forward in a snaking pattern, and that way you had corners to hide behind. But it's still trench warfare. So my question for you to theorize for a moment: what happened to all those trenches? We're talking about 1 million, 2 million men digging trenches all over Europe. And when they dug in...
They're not there anymore?
I'm asking you, do you think they're still there? Do you think over time they caved in, they were destroyed? What do you think?
Most of them are probably still there, but some of them might have caved in, or maybe just not there anymore. Maybe they filled some of the holes in.
Sure. And that's perfect theorizing. Is maybe they feel, because if that land still belongs to somebody now, and so if a guy bought it as farmland, wouldn't you want to fill it in so your cows don't fall in a trench?
Yep.
Sure. I'll tell you something that's you're looking at, what, 1915, so 105 years ago, right?
Mm-hmm.
Wow, 105 years ago. That's crazy. So think about the American Revolution. All right. What year was that? 17 what?
I don't know.
76. 1776. All right. You're looking at oh my goodness, 244 years ago, right? And in the Civil War, did you know that there are still trenches from the Civil War?
Hold on, my grandma wanted something. You said there's still trenches from the war?
From the Civil War.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. Look, and Virginia is just rich with the history of the Civil War. You ever gone up to Williamsburg?
I don't know where that's at.
That's in Virginia. It's a nice way to have kind of like a little staycation. You know what I mean? You go to Williamsburg and for the day and stay the night in the hotel. It doesn't cost anything to go through Williamsburg. They don't charge admittance for the federal and state runs. Some of the private run stuff does, but you can go through and see all the different shops they used to have. It's a working town, so they live like they used to back then, if that makes sense.
Oh.
So there's lots of things like that. You can head towards Culpeper and go over to Culpeper, Virginia. It's not far. It's not too far from Culpeper. I think it's called Wilderness, Virginia. Yeah, it's Wilderness, Virginia. And they still have a few foundations from some of the houses that were there during the Civil War. But the most amazing thing is you can drive what's called on a Civil War road. But it wasn't the road from the Civil War. It just went through the woods, and you could see off to the left the trenches. It was amazing to me. I don't know, to see it last that long and the natural processes not do anything to it was amazing to me. You have any questions?
No.
All right, so you should get your packet tomorrow, okay? If not,
All right.
if not today. And for the world history, I didn't include anything for the Gallipoli campaign. I wanted to do more work like this, and then I might even there's a way I can draw on the board, and you all can draw the same. So we may try that on Thursday. Okay.
All right.
All right, buddy. You have a great day now.
Okay.
Talk to you later.
See you.